Hello and welcome to our meditative journey on the Grand Matriarchy. So first, I would like to just talk a little bit about what the Grand Matriarchy is and what it means for us. And then we'll dive into a journey. So the Grand Matriarchy is probably easiest explained in contrast to the Patriarchy. And we have been living in a patriarchal society for more than 2,000 years. And let me dive into sort of the difference between a matriarchy and a patriarchy, the difference between a masculine and feminine, because they're related. So first of all, when I talk about masculine and feminine, I'm not talking about man and woman, although many men are primarily masculine and many women are primarily feminine. That's not always the case. And of course, we all have aspects of the masculine and the feminine. So what I'm talking about is a general collective energy of the masculine and the feminine. So you will notice certain aspects of each within yourself, and that's perfectly appropriate. In the Flower Essence practitioner training program, we do a full teaching on the masculine and feminine that really helps. I'm just going to sort of do a brief delineation right now. So in general, the masculine is linear, while the feminine is cyclical or fluid. So the masculine is more predictable. It's getting from point A to point B. The feminine is more about evolution and embracing the mystery. Also, there doesn't have to be a matriarch and a patriarch. But if you are somebody who has a relationship with the divine, a personified divine, then you might be talking about a mother god, mother goddess, and a father god, or some version of that. And I made some notes about that today. So these are just some thoughts that popped through as I was preparing for today's meditation. There were some brief downloads. With the goddess, there's no good and evil. So in the matriarchy, there's no good and bad. It's not a duality situation. It's two sides of the same coin that don't really split evenly. It's all about this balance and how different aspects support each other. So with the patriarchy, there's good and evil. With the matriarchy, there's truth and there's balance. There's not even really right and wrong in the matriarchy. There's only cycles and timing and balance and support. When I'm talking about cycles, you can always relate that back to cycles within the earth. So you think about seasons, think about the masculine approach may be to say, that is the wrong time to plant that seed. And the feminine approach might be, if you plant that seed now, the support from the earth will be there in this way, but not that way. The support from the sun will be there in this way and not that way. It's about an all-encompassing approach that seeks to understand all sides or all pieces of the equation. So hopefully that's starting to give you an idea of how the masculine and the feminine in terms of a collective energy differ. Also, I think with the patriarchy, there tends to be authority. And in the matriarchy, it's about authority. It's about self-authority and empowerment. Whereas in the patriarchy, it's sort of about, here is this patriarch or this power, and that is the authority, and you do what that authority says. So again, this is not I don't claim that you can take every sentence that I'm saying and apply it to everything patriarchal or matriarchal, and it will hold up as being universally true. These are just generalizations to give you an idea of the different ways of being. You know, the matriarchal is really about, in terms of the divine, in terms of divine energy, the matriarchal is really about collaboration with the divine rather than obedience to the divine, if that makes sense. So when we talk about the grand matriarchy, what we are talking about is a mindset that is rooted in the feminine. We're talking about choosing how you walk through the world, how you see your world, and how you act in your world. The grand matriarchy is about surrender. Patriarchy is a little more about control. Matriarchy is about surrender. And right now, on June 30th, I will say that every single strong female leader that I am in contact with, and many other people who may not put themselves in any of those categories, so non-women and maybe non-leaders, but specifically there is this concentration of female leaders in my world who I'm aware of who are going through the most treacherous teachings right now, who are being taught the lessons that their souls have been waiting to learn, myself included. So we're all going through this teaching, this learning right now, where it's like, whatever that main wound is that you still have not healed, you can bet it's getting worked with right now. And it is painful, and it is difficult, and it feels like a final exam or an initiation to get to the next level of self-authority. We are always rising to meet the goddess. And that sounded patriarchal, rising to meet. We are always expanding to meet the goddess, because in the matriarchy, she is all around. By the way, the matriarchy does not exclude a masculine god. We're talking about the feminine aspect. The matriarchy, the goddess, the feminine is all inclusive. So there's almost nothing is excluded. I thought that I saw a little bear outside, but it was my cat. All right, so we are being initiated into the next level of priestesshood. And if you don't resonate with those words, if you don't resonate with goddess or priestess, fine. Let me think of some other words. The strong collective feminine is fierce right now. And we who are stepping into leadership in that realm are rising up to the next level of ability to hold space, to teach, to guide, to be way showers, whatever it is that you are feeling called to do. This is the moment where you are being initiated or being made ready for that next level of involvement and of presence. So it is not an easy time, and it may not be a fun time, but it is a really, really, really important time for you to be present, for you to be paying attention to what's going on, for you to be loving yourself, figuring out how to love yourself better and love yourself more, and trying to identify, if you can, what exactly is going on in your healing journey right now. It does seem to be a lot about authority from what I'm gathering from the people in my world, in my circle. A lot about personal authority, whether that is self-confidence, self-worth, believing in yourself, honoring your needs, speaking your truth, putting yourself first instead of last, using your voice in ways you were not comfortable using your voice before. There are a lot of ways this is showing up for the people that I'm aware of, and I can only imagine that you may be one of those people. So there's one more piece I want to talk about with the Grand Matriarchy, at least one more piece before we dive into the meditative journey. Nature and cycles. Who is our great mother? Maybe it's Mother Earth. Maybe it's like, you can envision the great mother or the goddess however you choose. And those can be used interchangeably. The earth is definitely a part of it. The earth is the mother. So understanding, being attuned to the earth and her cycles and her seasons and her power and her fortitude and her suppleness and her malleability and her resilience. These are the things that attune you to the matriarchy. So one of the most powerful things that you can do in order to attune to the matriarchy, attune to the goddess, attune to the mother, attune to your feminine, is to become more aware of your cycles. This could be your menstrual cycle. This could be the way that you feel in different seasons. This could be noticing, wow, after I have weak boundaries and let somebody invade my space, this is the reaction I can expect from myself. This is the healing for that reaction. See how this becomes a cycle? It doesn't all have to be like your moon cycle. There are so many cycles that we are a part of at all times, Like, we are part of the earth cycles, we have our cycles, we have the people around us, we have, we've got the planets, like, it's non-stop cycles. And once we start tuning into the cycles, the gift is that we get so much more understanding and compassion for ourselves. It's insane. Once you understand the context of what is going on within you, you can have compassion for it. And then you're not wrong anymore. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. I used to do a lot of moon circles, new moon circles, full moon circles, and I had a women's group called Moon Sisters. And the reason why the focus is the moon is because it is such an easy example. We look at the new moon and we see this sliver, and we do not get mad at the moon for not being full. We don't yell at the moon or chastise or shame or guilt the moon for not showing all of herself in that moment. We understand where she is in the cycle, and we contextualize. We say, oh, it's a new moon. Here's what I know about that. Here's what I can expect from myself. This is the context for my world right now in relationship to the moon. Now I understand myself in that context. How many times do you get mad at yourself or guilt yourself or shame yourself for not being something? I can almost guarantee you that there is a cycle at play, which is the reason that you are not as you think you should be. And if you can remember the moon and her phases, she always comes around. She will always be full again. She will always be new again. There is always another phase. And in the moon, you only have to wait like not, a few days for it to change phases. I was thinking for a moment about the moon going through the signs. So the moon will be in Cancer for like 2.5 days, and the moon will be, in Leo for 2.5 days. So I was going to say 2.5 days, but that's to go through the signs. The moon cycle is 28.5 days. If you were to give yourself that much time before judging yourself for not being where you thought you should be, what a beautiful gift that would be. All right, so hopefully at this point you have some idea of what I mean when I talk about the Grand Matriarchy and how you might be able to orient yourself towards that. The Grand Matriarchy is a main tenet of the Flower Essence Practitioner Program. And by that, I mean that mindset, that context is the world, the realm that we will be working in during the Flower Essence Practitioner Training Program. So if it's not your comfort zone, it's okay. But we are going to orient you to it. Like that is where we will be living. So, or at least it's where we'll be coming back to every time we have class, every time you're doing homework. And there will be tools to help orient you there. If it's something you feel like you've been missing, you need more of, and this program has been intriguing you, I recommend it. I mean, it's going to be a powerful portal of transformation. So if one of the things you've been saying to yourself, or maybe you're just starting to say to yourself now is, I don't know about my relationship with my femininity. I don't know. I have like some resistance when people say goddess or matriarchy or are all about their feminine, the divine feminine. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, I recommend looking at why and seeing if there is a part of your own femininity or your relationship to the feminine or your relationship with feminine people in your life that needs some attention. Ultimately, we want to be in balance. That's what we are always seeking. It's not about getting all the way to the feminine side or getting all the way to the masculine side or any other duality that you want to talk about. It's about having agency over where you fall in the spectrum. So sometimes if we've been living a super masculine life, we do have to travel all the way over deep into the feminine in order to know what the whole spectrum feels like and then choose where we want to live more often. And then sometimes you'll be like, this calls for my masculine, I'm over here. This calls for my feminine, I want to be here. So it's not, the answer isn't you should be more feminine. That's the patriarchy. I mean, they wouldn't say that, but that's a patriarchal type of statement. You should be more this. No. If you have been experiencing this in excess, nonstop, you're probably out of balance. And what we want to do is bring this into the picture so that you can be in a balanced place with agency and choice about where you're operating from at a given moment. And that doesn't mean you won't sometimes go all the way into that masculine and be like, ooh, that was not the right choice, or vice versa. It just means we're expanding your awareness, we're expanding your experience so that you can choose and you can know more of yourself. If you've been over here, there's a whole part of you that's undiscovered. We want you to discover it. We want you to be all of you, all of you. Bring all of you to your work. Bring all of you, to your friends, to your relationships, to your home, to your service. We want all of you. There are aspects of every part of the spectrum that are going to be helpful for you. So that being said, go ahead and make yourself comfortable, and we will start our meditation. So finding your comfortable position, I want you to start by taking 3 deep cleansing breaths. Let it be audible. And then let your breath settle into an easier flow. And for a moment, rather than directing your breath anywhere, I want you to follow your breath. So notice how your body wants to move and how your breath wants to move, where the expansion wants to happen, where the contraction wants to happen, how you can make space for your breath in your body. Just follow it. Where is it going? We'll spend another minute breathing like this. So continue breathing. Let yourself begin to let go, begin to relax. I'm noticing that if I don't do anything about it, my eyes are starting to droop, and I'm just going to let that happen. Make any adjustments you need or want to make in order to be comfortable, but know that you can continue to move through this entire meditation. You do not have to stay still. You do not have to be seated or lying down. You can be standing, moving, dancing, or you can be however you want to be. I encourage you to listen to your body, to follow your impulses. And if you do not feel in touch with your impulses, to breathe deeper until you can find one. And whatever your position is, I want you to place yourself on the earth in your imagination. So if you're lying down, maybe you're lying down on top of the earth. If you're standing, maybe your feet are on the earth. Whatever version of that works for you in this moment, place the earth in your experience. Breathing to expand and to contract. Seeing if you can feel a natural undulation of your body, external or internal. And when you feel ready, and when you feel the call, the invitation, the beckoning from the Great Mother, I want you to bring your breath into your heart space. Let the breath begin to expand the heart. Feel the heart contract with your exhale. Expanding and contracting. Can you picture, feel, see, imagine, sense the earth within your heart? Can you travel within your heart into the earth? and find a place to rest, to dance, to play. Can you imagine that scene in your head? Can you feel that in your heart, in your womb, in your belly, in your legs? Can you envision, imagine, sense, feel yourself being embraced by the Great Mother, whether that is the earth, a goddess image that you have in mind, a sense or a feeling, a color? Can you feel yourself embraced, hugged, wrapped up in a blanket, and told that it is all going to be okay? What do you wish your mother had said to you? Can you hear the goddess say it to you? Can you hear the Great Mother? Can you hear Mother Earth whisper those words into your ear, into your heart? What do you wish that your father had said? Can you hear her whisper those words too? Lying, sitting, dancing, resting, walking here in her arms. What do you know to be true about you? What do you want to learn about yourself? What mystery is there in you that wants your exploration, your excavation, your expansion? What part of you wants to be seen, heard, felt, embraced, loved, understood? Do you feel that someplace in your body? Can you breathe into that place in your body? Continue breathing into that place in your body. You can bring your hands there if you like. And listen for the whisper of the mother. Does she have guidance for you? Does she have an image to show you? Does she have wisdom to bestow? You're going to keep breathing into that place until some kind of shift happens. You can try breathing shallowly. You can try breathing deeply. You can try breathing different shapes, colors, feelings into that space in your body. Keep listening for the mother. And while you're here, if you're not deep into something, you can always just play with the idea of different mothers. What kind of characteristics do you think it would be fun for the Great Mother to possess? She possesses all of them. So just play. Whose mothers did you sort of find fun or intriguing or scary growing up? The Great Mother is everything. She is not just nurture. She's also fierce. Fierce. She is truth. Listen for your truth. Keep breathing into that place. And ask yourself the question, how can I love me more? Don't go into list making, just listen. If you have not yet felt a shift in that area of your body, you can pause the meditation and keep breathing until you do. Once you have felt that shift, I want you to begin to move your body again if you stopped. This doesn't have to be some like big sensual dance. It can just be stretching, just moving, feeling your physicality. Playing with your breath in your movement. So what does it feel like when you hold your breath and move? What does it feel like when you release and move? What does it feel like when you inhale and move? So breathe into your heart, into that beautiful earth, into that beautiful mother. Let's give thanks to the mother for her presence. Whatever your experience was with her today, let's just acknowledge. Thank you, Mother Goddess. Thank you, Great Mother. Thank you, Goddess. Thank you, Divine Feminine. Thank you, Collective Feminine Energy. Thank you, Matriarch, for your presence, for your energy, for your influence today. A few more breaths in the heart. And allow yourself to come back, come out. So it was just a brief journey today into the matriarchy. What do you come away with? What are your questions? What are your thoughts, feelings, desires? Desire is a good word to play with in the matriarchy. And in general, I believe in letting desire be a big part of our spiritual practice. Moving with desire, letting desire guide us, discerning desire. There's a lot there. And for me, my personal belief is that desire is worship. When we desire something, we are aching to be closer to the divine. So when we are in desire, even if what we feel is not that pleasant feeling of desire, if what we feel is separation, what we feel is lack, what we feel is not enough, what we feel is I don't have it, this simple shift to make that a beautiful, loving thing is to say, what is my desire? And to recognize that desire as a longing for union. And then you can remember, you are union. You are in union. You are here right now in union. It doesn't take away the desire that you'll never be in human form 100% in union. We are separated. It's part of the experience. But your desire is a portal to knowing your union. I think that's where we will end today. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for exploring today. I welcome your questions, so please send them. And I love you. And the Great Mother loves you. Have a beautiful day.